Right now on Hoosier News Source, 17 confirmed tornadoes swept across Indiana this past weekend. We'll show you where they hit and the damage they left behind. And a controversial bill targeting trans youth will likely become a law. We'll tell you how LGBTQ+ students are reacting. From Bloomington, Indiana, you're watching Hoosier News Source. Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Brookelyn, Lambright.
And I'm Chloe Ferguson. Several major tornadoes ripped through parts of the Midwest this past weekend, causing severe damage. At least 5 deaths have been confirmed in Indiana, along with dozens more in states like Texas, Arkansas, Illinois, and Tennessee. Several tornadoes touched down in Indiana, including one in Whiteland that the National Weather Service has said was likely an EF2. The National Weather Service confirmed 17 tornadoes hit Indiana between Friday evening and early Saturday. Several caused damage in Johnson, Owen, Morgan, Howard, and Clinton counties. An EF3 tornado hit Sullivan County, according to the National Weather Service, causing major damage and claiming 3 lives. An EF3 tornado, peak winds at 138 miles per hour, also hit Owen and Monroe counties, killing a married couple in McCormick Creek State Park. As several anti-transgender bills make their way through the Indiana State Legislature and the governor's desk, members of the community came together Sunday to celebrate Trans Joy. The No Slate of Hate event focused on spreading positivity about the transgender youth. During the rally, members of the community took to the stage to share their stories. Many were members of the transgender and LGBTQ community. The message of the rally centered around hope and unity.
They don't want us to unite. Look at this kaleidoscope of people. They don't want us to come together, because if we come together as a unified block, we can beat they behinds at the ballot box.
Indiana is the 11th state to pass a bill banning access to gender-affirming procedures for transgender minors. At IU, LGBTQ students are expressing their concerns about the recent bill.
Made me really sad because I have friends in the transgender community, like specifically from high school, who were able to receive gender-affirming care. He's sad that that's kind of what Indiana's focusing on.
I think we were going in the United States as a whole in a good direction of legalizing same-sex marriage, legalizing more of those kind of rights as going forward, and then it seems almost like a step backward.
LGBTQ students worry about the future of Indiana and federal legislation. Some students worry legislation won't stop at limiting the rights of transgender minors.
I am worried about kids of the future. Like, I've actually thought about it. I'm nowhere near being a mother, but I'm still like, where do I want to live? Because where do I want to have kids who are able to be themselves?
It could be a stepping stone to preventing anybody from getting gender-affirming care, or preventing trans people from being out, at all.
As more anti-LGBTQ bills stack up around the state, members of the community are calling for better legislation that protects their rights.
I would like laws that protect people's rights to just express themselves. Transitioning doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't harm anybody else's way of life.
For the LGBTQ community, Senate Bill 480 is a step backwards, but even so, they will continue to vote and fight for their rights.
We're here, we're a population, you're not just going to keep us silenced forever.
Governor Holcomb approved the bill today, and it will take effect starting July 1st.
This past weekend, First Nations hosted their 11th annual Indiana University Traditional Powwow. The event is put on every year as a gathering of Native tribes coming together to dance, heal, and exchange crafts. The powwow lasted from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. as a time to carry on traditions of Native American tribes and represent tribal identity. People of all ages and nations are welcome, and hopes to keep the culture of Native Americans alive and celebrated.
So incredibly important to raise awareness for these type of events, to raise awareness for the fact that we're still here, we're still fighting, and that there is plenty of opportunity to participate in that, rather than just think that Native American culture is just this closed off thing that happens in corners.
The powwow brings hundreds of people each year to enjoy traditional dancing and sharing of tribes. In addition, guests are provided free community lunch and dinner, along with vendors offering jewelry, blankets, artwork, and other accessories.
Now for the latest on this week's weather. Ashton Hackman is here to tell us what to expect. Ashton?
Yeah, we saw storms over the weekend, and we are under the gun for some storms again as we head through today. I want to start with the damage that we saw from those storms on Friday. This is up in Whiteland, Indiana, where they saw a pretty strong tornado make its way through the area. You can see this warehouse that was under construction completely blown away, lots of power lines down. And this was one of several tornadoes throughout the area that really, Bloomington got lucky. The system was farther to the north. And let's take a look at how many there was. This is a pretty substantial number. There was far more north. A significant EF3 that we mentioned in Sullivan, Spencer, McCormick State Park we talked about earlier. 2 people died there. An EF2 just south of Martinsville, but you can see Bloomington really got lucky in terms of the severe weather. Most of this stayed to the north. Unfortunately, though, we are under the gun for some severe weather today. All of the area is under an enhanced risk from the Storm Prediction Center, so this means that we are potentially going to see another round of some damaging winds, even the chance of some tornadoes as we take a look at the storm threats for today. So be weather aware as we head throughout the day today. Possible tornadoes, quarter-size hail, flooding also possible, but again, those strong winds could really do some damage as we move throughout the day today. Taking a look at the rest of the week, though, we look to be drying out as we head into the weekend, and temperatures stay relatively warm. We'll be in the mid-60s on Friday and Saturday, staying sunny. Rain returns on Monday with another chance of some storms, and we dry out come Tuesday. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Ashton. Coming up on Hoosier News Source, you've likely heard that companies sell personal data, but now you may have to worry about a government organization selling it too.
And a UN report says climate change is reaching a breaking point. We'll tell you how 3 towns in Indiana are hoping to help fix that. Stay with us. Welcome back to Hoosier News Source. Ella Rhoades joins us in studio with the latest on international news. Ella?
That's right, thanks guys. On Tuesday, Finland officially joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Finland becomes the 31st nation to join the NATO military alliance. Just last week, Turkey voted to approve Finland joining the group, yet still leaves Sweden's application to NATO undecided. Finland also shares an 810-mile border with Russia, which practically doubles NATO's border with the country who invaded Ukraine more than a year ago. A Russian minister said they plan to add more military forces to their border with Finland. And continuing with Russia, authorities there said that they arrested a suspect in the bombing attack that killed a popular Russian pro-military blogger. On Sunday evening in St. Petersburg, an explosive went off in a cafe, killing Vladimir Tarkovsky, where he was a guest of a pro-war group. Russian authorities said they arrested 26-year-old Daria Trapova, who they believe is a supporter of Alexei Navalny, a well-known critic of Putin. Russia's National Anti-Terrorism Committee also claimed Ukraine was behind the attack. The explosion injured more than 30 people. And as protests in France over pensions persist, the country now faces another dispute. Marlène Schiappa, the French Minister for the Social Economy and French Associations, faces harsh criticism across political parties for appearing on the cover of France's Playboy magazine. Schiappa began working as a government minister in 2017 and served as France's first ever gender equality minister. Schiappa defended her decision to appear on the cover, taking to Twitter saying, quote, "Defending the right of women to have control of their bodies, that's everywhere and all of the time. In France, women are free, with all due respect to the detractors and hypocrites," end quote. That's what's going on around the world. Chloe in Brooklyn, back to you.
Thanks, Ella. April is National Minority Health Awareness Month, and IU is conducting a Diversity in the Workplace series to encourage equity and togetherness in professional environments. Modern-day workforces allow for a variety of races, ages, mental and physical abilities, and cultures to come together and work towards a common goal. This series will allow participants to learn the true meaning of diversity and what it means to understand and appreciate people's differences. The events will be held every Monday from 11 a.m. to noon, held over Zoom for the remainder of the month. Anyone interested can register at healthy.iu.edu.
The Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles is making millions from selling Hoosiers' personal information, and most don't even know it. In 2022, Indiana made nearly $25 million from selling personal information to private companies. The BMV doesn't ask for drivers' permission to sell their information and does not allow drivers to opt out. While BMV workers may not know about the practice, it is totally legal. Things such as your name, address, date of birth, make and model of your car, plate number, and more are for sale. Lawyers, insurance agents, school corporations, police departments, mobile home parks, and auto dealers are all potential customers for your personal information.
Action against climate change is starting right here in Bloomington with a new initiative from the mayor's office. Project 46 is a new plan for the cities of Bloomington, Nashville, and Columbus to try and limit their carbon footprint and emissions. It's named for the highway that links Monroe, Brown, and Bartholomew counties and aims to reduce fossil fuel and greenhouse gas emissions. This all comes on the tail end of a major report put out by the UN saying global warming will hit a critical threshold by the 2030s.
Well, it is that time of year again in Bloomington as we officially enter the warm spring season. Kirkwood Avenue, the busiest, most popular street in town, is officially closed off to cars. Pedestrians can walk freely in the street, and restaurants have the opportunity to expand their dining capacity. This is the 4th year the city chose to block off the street. The closure started this Monday and will remain until October 1st.
Brianna Ballog now joins us for the latest on Hoosier athletics. Brianna?
Thanks, Chloe. We are now in the month of April, and you know what that means? Softball and baseball are in full swing. We start things off at Andy Moore Field, where Team 50 continues to make history. After sweeping Ohio State, the number 19 Indiana softball team is on a 21-game win streak, making it the longest winning streak in program history. Freshman Taryn Kern continues to shine, leading the Hoosiers in runs, home runs, and RBIs. Kern leads the Big Ten in home runs with 15, runs batted in with 42, and she also leads in slugging and on-base percentage. Shonda Stanton's squad is in first place in the Big Ten at 8-0. Now let's go to Happy Valley, where Indiana baseball dropped game 1 of the series against Penn State, but came out on top with a 4-1 and 22-11 victories to win the series. In game 3, the Hoosiers dominated the Nittany Lions at the plate with 3 home runs. Sophomore Josh Pine led the Cream and Crimson with 4 hits and 3 RBIs, alongside freshman Devin Taylor, who had 2 hits and 4 RBIs. Indiana is tied for first place in the Big Ten with Michigan at 5-1. Coming up, both softball and baseball have a weekend series. And that's all for sports. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brianna, and thank you for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV News. I'm Brooklyn Lambright.
And I'm Chloe Ferguson. From Bloomington, Indiana, we'll see you next time.